Smith and Wade. Thanks for joining me today. Now, in today's episode, we're a little tongue-in-cheek, as you can see by the title and perhaps even the thumbnail. And if you know, you know. However, there is truth in the title. My first project was actually a shirred dress. Now, I said I started, a few times I've said I've started back in August of 2020, and that is true. My first project was a dress, also true, and it was shirred. Three truths cannot possibly equal a lie, right? Okay, so let's get into it. In this episode, we're going to talk about many of my first garments ever made. And we'll start with the big one. And yes, it was a shirred dress. It is actually this dress right here. So let's look at this dress. It is a dress. It's shirred at the top. It's loose at the bottom. It's a made garment, y'all. It's a dress. It's a whole dress. Now, what I failed to mention in the title is that it came this way. So this is actually fabric from JoAnn Fabrics. And it was in their clearance section at the time. Remember, I started in August, so this is a summer or even spring fabric, and it probably was even from like 2019 or something. And so as I was going through, the aisles and made my way back to the clearance section, this was in their clearance section. And I was like, I've seen some videos about a shirred dress or a sundress or whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, I think I can make this. And I was pretty successful. Now, mind you, it is one seam. Like, it is literally cut however much you need to go around your body. Maybe take off a little bit because it is, a knit here at the top, and sew it. Now you can go angled, you can go straight, you can stop and, have a split, whatever you want to do, but it's one seam and you are done. So I can't say I cheated. It was there like that when I bought it. I can't help that it was already shirred. It was just to my advantage. However, this was my very first project. Now, honestly, I have not seen this fabric again in JoAnn at all, so I don't know that any of the stores anywhere even still carries anything like this, because I didn't see it at all in the summer of 2021, and I have yet to see it come out this year as well. And they pretty much put out a lot of their spring, and maybe it'll be a summer release or something like that, but I haven't seen it. I'd say, I guess, in almost 2 years time. However, if you can grab it, this is like the first, hands down, the first garment a beginnist should ever make. It is one seam and one seam only. And you don't need any notions. There are no closures. There's no hook and eyes. There's no loops. There's no ties. There is none of that. There is, pick a thread, any thread, because it's one seam. Cut out the length, I guess, that you would want yours to be. I made mine maxi length. And when I say made, it was pretty much the length of the fabric, right? And, okay, maybe I was wrong in one seam, but it was just one seam straight up. Now, I did hem it because this is a woven material here at the bottom. I didn't want it to fray, so technically two. Okay, two seams if you want it to be. You could want it to be just genuinely natural at the bottom and fray and frill and do all it's going to do in its natural state, and you would get away with the one seam. But technically there's two. Again, there's still some truth in there. But this dress, obviously, super duper easy. There's lots of tutorials out there that will, teach you how to take measurements or what to, consider if you're making a shirred outfit, and, you needed to hug the top. Now, I will say that this is a little loose still at the top, and so I probably should have gone in a little bit more. I think I was worried about it, you know, maybe over my hips or waist or something. I didn't want it to be too tight. And so I technically could go in and just, you know, make a larger seam allowance. And this would fit a little more snug here at the top. But all in all, my first garment, my first sewn garment was a sheer dress. And I'm quite proud of it. Okay, so my second make was actually a pair of leggings. These leggings are from the pattern Peg Legs by Patterns for Pirates. Now, I didn't know what I was doing, y'all. And again, for those that know, you know, this fabric surely is not bottom weight legging material because it is so see-through. Like, I don't know if you can see me, but I can still see you, which means whatever I wear under it, everybody gonna see. But I was so proud of my leggings. I was like, I'm going to JoAnn's, I'm getting me some fabric, and I'm gonna cut this up. Because again, this is a very easy pattern. It's also free. I believe if you join their Facebook group, there's a code in there. And so, you know, again, another first garment, especially for bottoms, this would be one that I would recommend. And so you have two pattern pieces basically, because your leg, and it's pretty wide, so you would need a wider knit depending on your size, because the leg is just cut out twice. There's no front and back, so there's no outside side seam. There's just the inner seam or the inseam. And so you cut that out twice, so that's pattern piece one. And then you have a waistband, and you cut that once as well. I did this actually on a serger, and so that's good too if you have access to a serger, or you know, you're looking for your first project using your serger. This would be a good one as well. Obviously, these are pants length. If you didn't want to, you know, maybe make a mistake or waste material, you can certainly cut it off to whatever length. And I believe they do come in various lengths, so shorts and whatnot. If not, it's pretty easy to just say, you know what, cut it off in 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches, and it becomes shorts at that point. But a very easy make. You pretty much sew up, you know, the legs in the inseam, then you put them together and you sew up the crotch, and then you sew on the waistband. And the reason why it's pretty simple is because it's knit, so it stretches, and you know, you don't have to do very much in the way of measurements and finagling. You just, you know, go with a size that's smaller than what your waist and your legs and your hips are, but not too small, and be able to sew this up. So second pattern, again, first pattern had two seams. This one had, let's see, technically two legs, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 seams. So again, a very easy pattern. I don't wear these out, obviously, with them being like extremely sheer. I don't know if you can see my arm in there, but yeah. So I just wear them around the house or whatever. But again, another great pattern, and this is from Patterns for Pirates. Okay, now I talked about my technical third make, which was the George and Ginger, or Ginger and George pattern, their boxer shorts. That's a very easy one. It's two pattern pieces. Again, you're just sewing up the inseam, or yeah, those don't have outside seams as well, or exterior side seams as well. So it's pretty much, you know, just a couple of seams and you're done with the fold over waist. So if you haven't seen that video on how to sew pants or how to begin sewing pants, I will link that video, but check it out because it kind of goes through some things or some patterns that you may want to consider picking up, that you can begin to advance your techniques and skills in sewing bottoms. Okay, now my fourth one was actually another pair of shorts. And when I first began sewing, as one does, we go to the interwebs and we fall down rabbit holes and gopher holes and giraffe holes. And all the holes because we're just like consuming so much inspiration and so many ideas, and I want that pattern. Oh, this is free. And so there was just lots that I wanted to do, and I pretty much just grabbed as much as I could. However, it was these one pair of shorts that I just thought were the most adorable, like really, really cute. And so I figured, you know, let's just try it. Okay, which ones is this? This is the City Shorts by Pearl Soho. Again, another free pattern. Now, I didn't know what I was doing with them leggings. And this was truly I'm going to try it, and so I'm going to use the most economical fabric that I have, which was quilting cotton at the time, because before I was making more crafting things like, you know, masks and just stuff around the house, and so that's all I pretty much had. I didn't have very much in the way of apparel fabric. So we will not be wearing these. I will not be showing pictures of me in these because, again, I mean, this yellow, beautiful. The light has it pretty bright and washed out. But yeah, with both of these, you can see through. Again, I don't know if you can see me, but I can see through. So we would not be wearing these to show. But these are, I would say, if you give yourself time, like just carve out a couple days and just take it slow. I think anyone, because I was able to, I think anyone would be able to sew up these shorts. These introduce the skill of sewing on a binding to a short, which is not difficult. And as you see, I use all kind of colors. So it's blue in the back, yellow in the front. This is a darker blue. I'm using white thread. This was 100% practice. But I do like the way the shorts came out. I will say they were true to size, with the exception of, for me, because there's just a bit more in the back of me, I would either need to increase the waistband or increase the length of it somehow, just so I can get more coverage. But I will absolutely be making more of these. I just haven't gotten around to it because I wear these in the house. But this again was another fairly decently easy or simple, I should say, pattern to make. Again, just taking your time, and like I did, use some scraps to make your first pair. If you get the waistband right, I would say as much as you can, and this was something I didn't think of until like recently, is to measure the waistband or the elastic that you cut out. And then that will help you gauge. You can always, you know, as they say, measure yourself every time you sew a garment. But this would at least give you a starting point as to how much elastic you would need. So in a lot of patterns, they give you an elastic guide, which is cool. A lot of times, totally off. Most of the time, they're way too big. But if you already have an idea of, you know, what's going to fit you, then you can use that as your starting point. And then for every make after that, like, okay, I know I need to start at 29 inches, you know, wrap that around yourself, see how it fits. Or if I need to start at 54 inches, I might need to go down, or, ooh, you know, I'm a little bloated. I mean, I may need to go up a little bit. You know, that's at least a starting point for you in terms of elastics. So just a Valenciaism, something I taught myself or thought about. Anywho, those are my first 3-ish patterns that I made starting out as a sewist. I will link all of those patterns in the description box. What I am wearing today is McCalls 7691. It is a set. It is a lounge set. And I get a lot of wear out of this set. So the top has, I believe, 3 different versions, an A, B, and a C. I sewed up view A, just not really into flounce that much, and this was a practice, right? I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't feel like I needed to make it more complicated than it needed to be at the time. So I just made view A. I will say though that there was something in the pattern where the front they said cut twice, or at least that's what I interpreted. And then I thought about it like, why did I need to cut it twice when I could have just cut it on the fold? So I don't know if that was user misinterpretation or actually the pattern. You know, when you lay out the pieces, it said to do it that way, but in actuality, you know, I could have just cut it on the fold or something. So keep that in mind if you find it and decide to make this pattern, that you have, I guess this would be considered a yoke. So you have a front yoke and then the front bottom piece. You have a back yoke and then a back bottom piece. And that's it. That's all you have. It's a high low. So, you know, this top part comes right about, I guess, pelvic area. And then the back drips or drips. It hangs lower than my bottom. So, or my behind. And so, you know, that helps me to determine which is the front and which is the back, because when I was making this, I didn't put a tag in. So that kind of helps you identify what's the front and what's the back. But a very pretty simple. I think the seam there, you just turn it over or under for the arms, and you do the same for the neck. And as you see, I was able to serge the neckline there. I didn't even finish the hem of this because it's a knit. It wasn't going anywhere. So I just figured just leave it as is. The pants, again, are also fairly simple to put together. As I mentioned about the George and Ginger shorts, and even the pants, the peg legs. These bottoms are one piece. So you cut it twice, you know, mirroring each other. They do not have an exterior side seam, so you're just sewing up the inseam, sewing the crotch together, and then you fold over the waistband. So a very easy or pretty simple make. And then you have a cuff at the bottom. So in terms of sewing 5 and below, let's see, for the top you have 2 and 2 is 4. So that could be a sewing 5 and below. And for the bottoms, you have a leg and a cuff. So for both pieces separately, this could be part of the Sewing 5 and Below series that's hosted by Talisha from Creativity by T and Rochelle from rochelle.handmade.designs. So I'll also link their information in that series below as well. But I get a lot of wear out of this, you know, lounge outfit. I don't know if it's technically supposed to be pajamas, but to me, I think it looks more like just something you would lounge in. What I will say is I'm actually interested in making this in a woven, only because the size that I cut, I noticed when I put it on, I don't need it to stretch over any parts of me. Like even my head gets through here, you know, fairly easy. So I may try to make this in a woven just because it's so simple to put together. Now with a woven, I may do like a bias binding finish to the arms and to the neckband, but I do like the way it just fits. It just hangs. It just drapes. Use the word technical words. It just drapes. So again, McCalls 7691. View A and View D. So that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for walking through life with me on this sewing journey. If you like this video, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing, and leaving me some comments below in terms of, have you sewn any of these patterns? Are you going to try to see if you can find any of them in the stores or online? Have you made something similar to them? Have you made anything by these pattern companies or designers at all? Let's talk about it in the comments. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.